Hey folks, welcome to the Flipside. I'm Sam, the I guess you could say the owner and operator of the Flipside of board games. Isn't that special? No, it isn't. Quite the opposite, actually. But thank you for being here. I appreciate you. What we do here on Mondays is we kind of just ease on into the week. What we are doing on this particular live stream is we just usually have a chat. Now, we usually have two live Q&As. We have one at the beginning of the week, which is what this is, and then we have one at the end of the week, normally, generally speaking, as long as our schedules will allow it, with myself and my wife. And and then we have other things sprinkled in between on those other days as well. Tuesdays is generally older game day, older games day. And then Wednesdays are generally a live stream of some kind. I try to stick to live reviews on Wednesday. But sometimes, if I'm not ready to do a review, we'll do a live play, a solo game of some kind, that kind of thing. And then Thursdays is usually a solo mode day where I live stream a solo mode or a solo game. And then Fridays is usually our big game day where where JT and I live stream a game, usually a newer kind of game on Friday afternoons at 1, and then Saturday is, already told you, live Q&A. So thank you for being here, everybody. Ragged Edge, Doug says, once again, live stream is starting just as I drive out of service. Well, that's what I call timing, Doug. Good job. David says the same thing. That's a good way to time it. Tom is here. What's up? David Brownlee is here. What's up? What's up? Vanessa is here. Hello. Al is here. Matthew Vincent, good to see you. Ken Albert is here. That is awesome. Luke Shires, afternoon, evening, as the case may be. That is correct. Today, YouTube suggested Sam's short, inviting folks to us to join him at Zulu's last year. Guess I missed it. Yes, you absolutely did. Yeah, that was a while ago. That was true. I was actually over there. Was that when? Yeah, I think so. I think I was over there filming or was it before that? Can't remember. I think I was over there filming the spotlight, the Flipside spotlight that we did on Zulu's. I think that's what it was. I have got my Royal Caribbean cup here, and I have hot coffee in it, which they tell you can't do that. They're not made for it. I'm doing it. I might be poisoning myself with a bunch of plastic stuff, but that's okay. I'm loving it. So anyway, that's it. The reason I have this is because I left my regular coffee mug, my Steamers West, my white Steamers West coffee mug. I left that at church, and I haven't been able to get it back over there. And actually, I was over there this morning, but the where it is in the Lost and Found wasn't open yet this morning. I was there really early for a men's Bible study. So that's something I'm going to be starting doing here in the near, started doing it today. 5:30 in the morning. Whew. Wow. I am not a morning person. That is a stretch for me, but it was a good time. We'll talk more about that later, I think. Here are the old stickers. And this is all that is left of the old stickers as well. The new stickers came in today. Bam! They're bigger. They're only like a ½ inch bigger, but they're bigger. Jeff and Brandon, the winners from last week, I just mailed their surprise out to them this morning, and they were the first 2 people to get the new and improved stickers, the larger ones. So these guys are 3 inches, and they are pretty nice. Pretty nice, really nice, Clark. So there you have it. Looks like, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it's just because they're bigger. It looks like the border on these is larger than on these, but I don't think it is. It just, these are bigger so that some of that border looks sucked up. Anyway, so got new stickers in. Next on the docket to get for as far as new merch and stuff like that is concerned is reorder of t-shirts and, since Tom's going to ask me later, hoodies. That's next on the docket. Welcome everybody. Victoria Ketchum is here. What's up? What's up? Good to see you. Alexander Meldrum is here. Love Condescension. Can't wait for some good negativity. No, that's not going to happen today. Needs of FOBG sticker. People pay money to put plastic in their system. You get to do it for free with your cup. Yeah, see? Something has got to kill you or you'll live forever. That's true. Yay hoodies. That's correct. Yay hoodies is right. Just in time for spring. I know. We were just talking about timing earlier. Maribeth will be happy about the hoodie. I'm sure you will. Pedro Navarro is here. What's up, Pedro? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hello, hello indeed. All right, so let's talk about the thumbnail and the title of this Fireside Chat. So, if you were here on Saturday, you probably heard the story that happened on Friday night. Yeah, so Friday night, was it Friday night? Maybe it was Thursday night. I can't remember now. Everything bleeds together over the weekend. But anyway, Thursday or Friday night, I was doing something. I had to schedule it was Friday night. I was scheduling the live Q&A. I was doing that, and so as I was thinking, I didn't even get to it. Right before I started scheduling the live Q&A for Saturday morning, I decided to check comments. Because Friday mornings, our bottom 5 over on the Dice Tower goes up, and our top 5 over here on the Flipside goes up in the morning. And so I decided to check comments, and there was more comments that were really kind of just. There was a comment really that was just like, you know, the same old stuff for the bottom 5. Your title is misleading. And so forth and so on, and you should change it. And so I gave a rather snappy, what I thought was lighthearted, although with a written medium, it just doesn't, sometimes lightheartedness doesn't translate with words very well. You know, you could be smiling as you write something, but somebody will get really offended by it just because that smile, that lightheartedness doesn't necessarily get communicated with the written words. And so anyway, I responded. I said, it was, you know, your title is confusing, and so you should change it, is basically the gist. And I said, well, my response was, well, I'm glad that the confusion was taken care of in the first, 30 seconds of the video and in the description, and and then I said you something like you came here looking for negativity and got pounded in the face, so it's like hit in the face with positivity. Poor thing. And I even want to say I left a LOL at the end of it, but I can't remember if I did or not. Anyway, that person didn't respond, but another person responded, "How can you be any more condescending?" And I was like, condescending? Oh, wow. I did not, condescension was furthest from my mind, really. I was just like, oh, well, here we go again. Another, kind of, that type of thing. That was my mindset. It was not condescending to this person, but went back, reread it, and sure enough, it does sound like I was condescending. So I posted a response to that person. No, I wasn't meaning to be condescending in any way. People have, accused me of clickbaiting and being clickbaity and all of this other misleading and deceiving and all of this kind of stuff. And I thought that you were in that camp, and so that was the reason for my kind of snappy response. Anyway, the other some other people people that I've had interactions before that were rather abrupt and attacking with their tone, piped in and said that they've had similar experiences with me before, and he just doesn't take criticism very well, and that that sent me down a path that night where I spent the next 90 minutes constructing responses, two different responses to two different people in that thread, in that comment thread, and click send on both of them, and neither of them showed up. So for one reason or another, I'm thinking it's a divine providence. Those responses did not get posted to YouTube, as far as I can tell, and I'll take that as mercy, God's mercy, because while I don't, I didn't say anything badly. I didn't, lose my cool or anything like that. It was very pointed, and my responses were very clear. It was very clear that I was not happy. We'll put it that way. So go through, Saturday morning shows up, and you can go back and watch that if you wish, if you didn't see it. And I was still pretty heated about that. And Jess was here, kept me level-headed. Don't go spool that up trying to see something that I shouldn't have done. But you could tell I was still kind of worked up about it. Fast forward to Sunday morning, and the sermon at church is talking about maturity. Talking about, and one of the points that Pastor Adam, one of our pastors, Pastor Adam was making was that, sometimes we think that we're more mature than we actually are. Now, he was speaking from a spiritual point of view. It's a church message, a sermon. He was speaking from a spiritual point of view, but if it's applicable spiritually, it's also applicable to everyday life, because as a Christian, there isn't really a clear defining line between the two. And so if it's applicable spiritually, it's also applicable in everyday life. So that gets me thinking, okay. And I'm reminded of where the Bible talks about how the tongue is a fire. And if you're not able to control it, or if you don't control it, it'll set your, I'm paraphrasing here, it'll set your life on fire. And I reflected on how close I came to that happening, because I thought I was, in constructing a very logical, well-worded response, how much more mature I must have been. And I was really close to possibly doing something maybe really stupid. But here's my thing, and the reason I'm talking to you guys about this, and I'll get to chat. I'm not ignoring you guys and gals, but I always strive to be as transparent as I possibly can. Probably sometimes to a fault, which I'm also trying to work on that, because frankly, you guys don't need to know everything, nor do you probably want to know everything that goes on in my life. But there is a level of transparency I think that's necessary in order for me to have a good reputation, first of all, to have the kind of reputation that I want, not an elevated view of myself, to remain humble, to remain, I guess you could say, real if that makes any sense. And so that's why I'm talking about this, because the comments are there. You can go read them, and please go and do so. If you wish. If you don't wish, that's fine too. But here's the thing. I really am striving and will continue to strive to provide a window of positivity in an otherwise negative world. There's a lot of negativity out there from everywhere. This is not anything other than a statement of fact from my point of view. There's a lot of anonymity out there that gives people a lot of bravado to be really nasty. Because why not be nasty? I'm never going to meet these people. I'm never going to see them face to face. These aren't people that I'm going to run into at the local coffee shop or anything like that. These are people that are on the other side of the country, maybe even the other side of the world. So why do I need to behave myself? And I'm not saying that those comments that set me off are like that. I'm just saying that's the extent to which people will go online. Because frankly, it's the title of a video. Who cares, right? Why, and these are questions that I ask myself, why did I get so worked up? Why did I let that get under my skin? And the sermon on Sunday just kind of rubbed that in a little bit, you know? And it was the clear question. I'm obviously, and again, from my point of view, I'm obviously not as, I don't know the word here. I'm not at, I guess I'll just use the word mature. I'm not as mature as I thought I was. And I think it's important to be introspective like that. And so I decided I wanted to talk about that today, and we'll get to your comments here in a minute. And again, I want to be real here. I don't want, I'm not looking for anything other than real talk. You know what I'm saying? So let's see here. Gamers are good today. How is Pedro? How are we doing today, gamers? Gamers is good. Okay, cool. So I will not text or email people in the church about anything serious. I cannot see their facial expressions nor hear their voice fluctuations to know what they are really saying. That's a great thing actually to have, to make it a point of having face-to-face conversations about important things and issues or whatever it might be. That's a really cool idea. Or policy, not idea, but that's good. I would love to be able to do that, but it's just not possible when you're running. Not always possible. There are a lot of people that I've met through doing the channel, and they've become good friends, and those are great things. But generally speaking, I don't have any big issues with any of those people, and I would expect them, if they do, to come and talk to me about it, because I do desire to be open and to always have like an open door policy as far as that's concerned. That if, you know, I don't ever want to seem like I am being condescending or that I am being flippant with somebody's response. And I think what I said on Friday was taken that way, because my guard dropped and I didn't do what I normally endeavor to do, and that is to be welcoming, and that is to be open. I wish there were. I wish I was more mature. Don't we all, Alexander? Vanessa says people are real tough guys while they sit anonymously behind a screen. Well, don't feel ignored yet. Yeah, that's good. There's a song by the Christian band Metal Cutlass called "The Tongues of Fire." Yeah. Did the response not post then? No, I don't think it did. I haven't seen it. I've been going back and checking. Ready to, kind of ready to face the music, so to speak. But no, the response has not. Neither of the responses has been posted. We're all living a parasocial relationship here. That's true. We will keep you in line. Yeah. Fear will keep the local systems in line. Vanessa, well, this situation involved the channel. Yeah. No, well, it didn't necessarily involve the channel. It was on the Dice Tower video, the bottom 5, because everybody is confused that it's called the bottom 5, and everybody wants to, not everybody, but the people who complain about it are saying that they expected to see the worst of, and they think they were going to be, and so people have been accusing me of doing that on purpose so that I get clicks. And I've tried to explain to people, and part of my response on Friday night was that no, the whole reason, the whole ideology, the whole thought process behind naming the video on the bottom 5, on the Dice Tower, the bottom 5, was, okay, well, we're going to do a top 10 every week with JT. Me and JT are going to do a top 10 every week. We'll put half of it on the Dice Tower. We'll put half of it over here. We'll put the top 5 over here. So what are we going to call the other one? Well, let's just call it the bottom 5. Okay, let's do that. And so that's literally the extent of the thought process that went into calling it the bottom 5. And we tried to make it clear. There were a few videos there at the beginning where, I just kind of assumed people would understand this is a bottom 5 of the top 10 because we were always posting both videos at the same time on the same days. 2 different places, but I always provide links between the 2. So I guess I just assumed that people would be able to catch on. Well, for the first couple of months, there was a lot of responses. I was just like, no. And I went out of my way over and over and over again to explain everything. Well, why don't you just change it? Because I don't want to. I like the way it sounds. Well, you should change it. I don't want to change it. And it's just over and over and over. And somebody was like, even just earlier this weekend, well, subtlety is lost on the internet. You've got 0.2 seconds to have an impact, or you've lost them. And I get that. I totally do. But if that's the window of time that I have to grab somebody, they're not going to sit and watch a 30-minute video, which is what the bottom 5s are. So I don't think I'm missing the target audience anyway with this small, because it is not a lot of people that are saying this. It is 1, maybe 2. And that's maybe once or twice a month. We post 4 of them. So again, it comes back. I go back introspectively. Why is this bothering me so much? It's not like it's a big deal. And after Sunday's sermon, it just came back to home that, well, I probably need to do some work then, because this is clearly affecting me in a way that it shouldn't, more than it should. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. Because you care. Well, let's see. You say something, Alexander Meldrum. I just realized that the thumbnail didn't say condensed. Oh dear, Luke. All right. Because you care, and that is not bad. Sure, I guess so. Getting defensive is a natural reaction when you believe you're being attacked. I understand that. I just don't. If I'm being attacked about something so small, why should it matter? I get that getting defensive is a natural reaction. I understand that, and I'm not saying that I shouldn't. What I'm saying is that I think I'm going to begin endeavoring, and other people have said this, to simply not let it trigger a response. You know what I mean? Because I think that's my engaging in a conversation about somebody saying that I need to change the name of or the title of my video when I'm already resolved that I'm not going to change it. Will it do any good? Probably not. Because the person on the other side of the conversation is going to think that they're right, and probably nothing I say is going to change their mind. And so it's a exercise in futility at that point. And there's probably no good that will come out of that conversation, especially because it's online. Maybe if I had that conversation face to face with someone and they could see how goofy maybe I am, then they'll understand that this isn't deception or misleading people or clickbaiting people or whatever. It's not a nefarious thing. Maybe I could get that across if it was a face to face, but because it's online, it's probably not going to happen. So why do it? You know, and people have said that, just don't respond to them. That's really hard not to do though. But I think small changes make a huge difference. Doing a little good isn't about big changes, but small things you can do. I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. You know, little tweaks here and there. Sometimes the big sprawling changes need to happen. Absolutely, kind of, you know, clean out the cellar type of stuff, the big stuff like that. I think that's necessary, but from time to time. But I absolutely agree with you that sometimes small little tweaks and changes here and there will add up to greater good. I would agree with that. Peter Owen says, I came in at the end, so I lack context, but I always appreciate your sincerity. Well, thank you, Peter. I appreciate you too, bud. Plus one small incremental improvements over time add up. Yes. Maybe the second 5. Yeah, see, Luke, there you go. It just doesn't have the ring. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I understand it. You're not the first person to suggest something like that. You know, the second 5 or the and I'm like, you know, sure, yeah, I guess it, but it just doesn't have that pop. It doesn't have that zing. It doesn't have that ring to it that the bottom 5 does. And not that it really has that much of a ring to it anyway, but nothing that I've heard, in my opinion at least, is any better. And most of it, in my opinion, is, well, all of it, in my opinion, is worse, because no one has even come close to convincing me that I absolutely need to change the name of the video. And so maybe there's a little bit of stubbornness there, but I try not to be stubborn. So I don't think that that's what I'm doing. I think I just want to keep the video the way, the name of the video, what it is, and not change it. You know, I kind of felt like I was a little, bullied isn't the right word, but, you know, this isn't the first time it's happened. And it's, to me, I used to have a variety show on the Dice Tower called Throat Punch Lunch. And the only reason that we named it that, was because of how it rhymed. Punch and lunch. And the variety shows back then, I think still nowadays, they were all kind of food related. You know, you had Board Game Breakfast, you had Board Game Blender with Z, and so there was that food reference of using a blender. And so I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Well, let's do something with lunch. And then a good friend of mine that they've since moved overseas somewhere, but the Thompsons, he said, you should call it Throat Punch Lunch, because back then I had that I guess reputation of being the hard-nosed person of the group, the no nonsense kind of guy, and so that's what he said, and I was like, that sounds cool. So I did. Well, it turned out that after a while, people started thinking that it was too violent, and I wanted to have more contributors. I was looking for a lot of different kinds of contributors, and nobody, there were a lot of people that just didn't want to do it because of how violent the name of the thing sounded. So I was like, okay. So after a while, we turned it into, I don't remember, Token Punch Lunch. I wanted to keep it as TPL. So I think it was turned into Token Punch Lunch or something like that. And, that still comes back to haunt me because I didn't want to change the name of the video series. I liked it, and the people that were doing it liked it, but I couldn't get anybody else to come on board. Well, not anybody else. The people I asked back then just didn't want to do it. So maybe I was just asking the wrong people. But this isn't the first time. That's long story short. This isn't the first time this has happened. So I just don't understand why people can't. I don't know. This sounds weird to do it. Let me do what I want to do, and just let me do it. I don't know. That sounded stupid. Sorry. Let's see here. All videos are designed to get clicks, no matter the medium. I like the name. It's fun. Who thought something so innocuous could create such controversy? Well, see, again, I don't think it's such controversy. It's just controversial. I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think anybody is, the one thing that the guy that I was referring to earlier in the thing, was more about the the time that I spent with Mythic and how influential I must have been to get people to put their money down for products. And he called me a hype man instead of, that's more controversial to me than the name of my video. And I take more offense to that than I do to people not liking the name of the bottom five. And that's really what kind of set me off on Friday. But anyway. Gospel Kingdom website. My brother-in-law saw Bang the two-player game. I remembered you reviewed it. Do you still play it? I prefer the dice game, but my family prefers the card game, but it takes so long. Truth. I have not played Bang the Duel in quite some time, actually, because more often than not, if I want to play Bang the Dice game, I want to not just play the two-player game. It is a good game, don't get me wrong, but I much prefer the dice game. So I stand by my review of it, but no, I haven't played it in quite some time. Do you mind giving a brief testimony about the history of your faith? Fat Captain says. No, I don't mind at all, actually. So I came to a saving knowledge of Christ when I was a kid, first grade. My mom led me to the Lord. She actually had the forethought to record it all, which was kind of strange. I've always thought that was kind of strange, but she liked to chronicle stuff like that. And this is when tape recorders first came out or were newer. And so she decided to do that. And I still have the tape somewhere. Of course, I don't have anything I can play it on anymore. But she led me to the Lord when I was, first grade. And it's when we were living in Virginia. My dad was stationed at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. And that was just a couple years, maybe three years before she died. She died when I was 10, and she was the main focus. She was the, kind of the focusing lens for our spiritual journey as a family. My dad was saved; he was a Christian as well. But she was very much the one that was keeping us in church on Sundays, and she was the one that kind of made sure that I was staying in Christian schools and that kind of stuff. And when she died, that all kind of stopped. Dad kind of went into a tailspin because he is in the Air Force. He's now a single dad, and I imagine, and this is not an accusation, I'm just trying to empathize with him a little bit. I imagine he was scared out of his gourd trying at the idea of raising a kid on his own. And so he automatically went to trying to find a replacement for mom, and that just kind of sent us off in the wrong direction. And again, I'm not trying to blame him for any of that. I had my part in making sure we didn't go that route too. But he got remarried to a lady that had 4 kids, 2 girls and 2 boys. So I went from being an only child to having 4 siblings and a brand new mom within the space of about 6 months of my mom's death. And so that was a rough time. That was a really rough time. That was just as I was going into 6th grade. Was that 6th grade? Yeah. Yep. Or just out of 5th grade. So 4 years. 4 years. I got saved 4 years before my mom died then. Had to be 5. 4 or 5. Yeah, as you can see, my brain is sharp as a tack. Anyway. So after my dad got remarried, he got stationed in Germany and got into a lot of stuff in Germany that I should not have. I always looked older than I was, and I was able to pass as a 16-year-old, and that was the drinking age over there. So I got into a lot of stuff over in Germany that I probably shouldn't have. That marriage didn't last very long. Only about a year and a half, I want to say, maybe just a year. And they got a divorce, and then my dad spent about a year kind of being the bachelor. Not really, being promiscuous, but just partying a lot. And that was the time where I saw the negative effects of alcohol, and I just kind of decided I wasn't going to do that anymore. And it was not a spiritual decision at all. Just didn't feel like I needed to go down that route anymore. And had friends that were doing drugs, and I had dabbled in some of them a little bit. And at that point, when I saw what alcohol was doing to my dad, I told them, look, I'm done with doing all that stuff. And again, it wasn't a spiritual decision. It was just like, I don't want to go down that route. At that point, from my point of view, I can see how it was the Lord kind of guiding me, because I was saved at that point. I just wasn't living for the Lord. And so after that, my dad got remarried to the lady he's still married to, the lady that I call my mom now. She is definitely my stepmom, but she's been my mom longer than my mom was my mom. And that's not to say anything bad against my mom. I love her dearly, and I'll see her again in heaven. But while I'm here on earth, I want to give respect to my mom, my stepmom, and by calling her my mom, because she put up with me as a teenager, and that's something else. Through, that kind of jaunt off into the nothingness of not living a life for Christ, continued throughout middle school and high school, and did a lot of stupid stuff. A lot of dumb knucklehead crap happened in middle school and high school. I didn't really get into a lot of trouble. I have to preface that with the statement that I'm about to make, but I spent each year of my high school career in a different school. And that was just because my dad was moving around a lot. The first year, my ninth grade year, we were living in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and I was at Ocean Springs. My dad was still in the Air Force at that time. The summer in between my freshman and sophomore years, he retired from the Air Force. No, I'm sorry. We moved on base, and my sophomore year was at Biloxi High School in Biloxi, Mississippi. And then at the end of my sophomore year, he retired from the Air Force, and we moved to Goche, Mississippi. And I went to high school in Pascagoula High School. And then he was working at a place over in Mobile, Alabama. After about a year of commuting 45 minutes to an hour each way, he said, I'm done with that. We're moving to Mobile. So my senior year was spent in Murphy High School, Mobile, Alabama. And after that, I was done. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I kind of needed to get out of the house. And so, and I hadn't really had much contact with my grandparents on my mom's side since we had gone to Germany almost 8 years, 7 years before. So I decided, let's rekindle that relationship. Well, here I was, a long-haired metalhead, going back into a very devout Christian home. And I'm not saying you can't be a metalhead and be a Christian. I'm not saying that at all, because I still am a metalhead. But I had taken a lot of that with me. And it was very clear very early on that that I just wasn't going to be able to continue living that lifestyle while I was with my grandparents. And so I did a lot of things. I got back into church when I got there. Started to listen to the Spirit a little bit more. Well, a lot more, because I wasn't doing it at all. And made a lot of changes that still was making stupid choices. But a couple years after I had been there, I slid into third base playing softball for my church, broke my leg, and my dad said, you need to come back home so you're not a draw on your grandparents' economy. And so I did, and we started looking for a place to for me to go to college. And we landed at Pensacola Christian, purely financial decision. They were super cheap. They still are super cheap, although they're a lot more expensive than they were then. And I graduated from Pensacola Christian with a degree in youth ministry and with a minor in speech. Went to Korea. Well, met Tom in Pensacola, or at Pensacola, PCC. And he went to go teach for his father-in-law. And when I was about to graduate, he said, hey, we need teachers. So we answered that call. Went over to be teach English as a second language, and then eventually went to work for Weijingbu with the Network of International Christian Schools. But it's been a long, I mean, I could spend the next probably hour and a half sharing all the details that I probably shouldn't share. But in a nutshell, that has been my testimony. There's been a lot of stupid decisions and a lot of grace and mercy coming from the Lord to put me in situations to where I can still serve Him, which blows my mind. Because, if you have, I always kind of take an employee-employer relationship look at it. If I had an employee that kept screwing up, I wouldn't want to keep that employee around for very long. But he sure has, and I can't begin to describe how that feels. To be kept and not to be discarded, even after you've made mistakes. So, yeah, I guess that's part of it. Not all of it. Let's see. Oh, how far am I behind here? Whew. Oh, man. I am super far behind. I was talking for too long. Good night in the morning. Oh, wait. Okay, there. I've seen us. Oh, Eric's here. Oh, here we go. All right, there we go. There's Fat Captain's answer. Okay, so I answered Fat Captain. All right, here we go. That segment is about a year old now. I can't believe you still get comments. Yeah, I do. Why do I feel this intro was directed to me? I'm always positive, and you. Yeah, you. Get off my lawn. It's okay that it bothers you. Your feelings are valid. That doesn't mean you need to respond back. That's true. That's where I'm working towards. I have to jump onto a work call. See you later, Luke. He's not here anymore, probably. When were you at the Dice Tower? Do you recall Tom ever changing the name of a segment? No, I don't. But there were times. Well, no, yeah. I just have to stay with no. I don't. And there's a part, and that's something I've always marveled about Tom, because I know the things that, because he first of all, he reads like lightning. And so he can read a whole bunch of stuff in the time that it takes me to read like 5. So he would read everything. And he got to a point where he had to stop reading everything because there was just too much negative and there was too much nastiness, and it would just get him down. And he got to the point where he built a really tough skin. And I always marveled at that, because I never could quite do it. I got good at acting like it didn't affect me. But when you're in the dark and nobody's watching, those things come back to haunt you if you really don't have a handle on them. And I think he figured out how to get a handle on them, and I just don't think I ever really have. And, you know, part of me says, well, that's just the difference between me and Tom. And that could absolutely be true. But that doesn't mean that I just not try to glean a little bit of that wisdom that he has, of just not letting, the barbs and arrows make that much of an impact. But to answer your question, I don't recall where Tom ever. I do recall many times where he was like, not doing that, and that kind of stuff. Fine. Maybe Terrier Halo Rules isn't the best video title on your videos. I won't suggest it again. Also, hello, people. Crap. Good morning, all. Hey, what's up, Karen? Good to see you. Good morning. Where are you at, Karen? Good morning. What? To Nose Elbow Buffet. Token Punch Lunch, because some people complained that the name was violent. Yep. How about the 5 not clickbait? just right on the nose, right, Al? Ken says, I think we need to know that as long as we aren't being offensive and hurting anyone, that we just cannot please everyone and continue what we love to do. That's absolutely true. See, I remember my Dice Tower history. I know. Okay. Enough on this. I'm longing for the next Friday argument of old. No. But of course, being offended is a whole different thing today. Yeah, that's true. There are people out there that really don't get our sense of humor. Yeah, I know. And there is that, right? There's the generational gap that's always going to exist. And it hasn't gotten worse. It's always been there, and it just becomes a little bit more prevalent, I guess, now. It's not any worse, I don't think. So we're going to see the bottom 5 rejected alternative names for the bottom 5 list. I mean, if you're going to be stubborn, embrace it. Maybe. I don't know if I should embrace stubbornness, David. I don't know if that's good advice. You will never make everyone happy, but the good news, you don't need to. It's hard for me because I am people pleaser. And generally speaking, I am too. I don't like to know that people are not happy with what I'm doing. I don't necessarily need, although it is good, I will say that, I don't need reinforcement. I don't necessarily need to be patted on the back. That being said, it is appreciated. It's always easier for me as a worker to know that what I'm doing is appreciated. I don't have to be lauded over, but just hey, good job. That speaks volumes to me as a worker. And I've worked for people that are good people that I think just didn't understand that concept very well. That sometimes people just need a little nudge. Hey, good job. Not that they need to be lied to. If you don't think that they're doing a good job, part of your job as a manager at that point, at least from my opinion, is that you need to tell them why you're not happy with their job and communicate with them why you're not happy. And then provide clear guidelines for what I need as a manager, what I need you as the worker to do so that I'm happy with what you're doing. You just don't not communicate with them. So that maybe this cold shoulder will tell them that they need to know. I don't agree with that at all. But I've worked for a lot of good people who had that managerial style. You have to go way, way, way over and above before you get even the inkling, the smallest bit of recognition, even if it's just between the two of you. Anyway. Let you do what you want to do with your channel? No, this is the internet and I have opinions. I know about guy sounds like a turd. Well, I don't want to make anybody sound like that. Again, the whole point of this conversation is for me to work through what I guess you could consider it an apology for sounding condescending, even though I didn't mean to. I still did. You know what I mean? So it's still my responsibility for how I word things and the word and the tones that I use, even though you can't really hear tones over a written word, just to be more careful. That's part of my responsibility. So, yeah. The printing of Bang Duel was such a horrid printing. It had multi-language cards and you could not see what they said. We played it once and never touched it again. Oh, there it is. Before you clarified, I was going to say recorded it on what? Papyrus? Kidding, of course, it belonged in a museum with you. Yes, I belong in a museum with you. Yes. My grandfather had to raise 6 kids on his own. My grandmother died when my mom was 13. Wow. I think bottom 5 is a fun play on words and meaning. That's really all it was, Magnus. That's really all it was. He said brief testimonial. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it, buddy. Eric is just staying on brand. What? What did I say? We're getting the entire life story. It's all good. No, I don't know about that. No need to buy the book now. That's correct. Yes, you don't need to buy the book. I'm not writing the book either. Let's see here. Roots miniseries. Wasn't that long. Yes, it was. It was longer. But nutshell, how big of a nuts are you been cracking? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's see here. Yay for Grandma and Grandpa. Yes, absolutely. Yay for Grandma and Grandpa. They're both in eternity now. Grandpa just We have a picture of him in the corner of the house upstairs, in the front room, and I miss him greatly. You know, a lot of the stuff that that you go through. If you have still a grandfather or a grandmother or a older dad or a mom that you can still talk to about some of this stuff, do that. Don't take that for granted. Because I would get so busy with doing this and that, and I would not call Grandpa. And there's so many conversations I wish I would have been able to have with him, even now. But I can't, but I will. It's just hard to think on sometimes. Thank you for sharing your testimony. Greatly appreciate it. You're welcome, Fat Captain. Thank you for asking. I appreciate you. Eric, if you read the book, you would know this story is not in it. That's true. Time to skip forward in the time of the comment sections. Yeah, we can say whatever we want. We won't make this far. Yes, I will. I already did. Declare chat bankruptcy and skip to the end. How can I post this earlier? David, build a time machine, and now's your chance to get. You got time. Time for bed. See you later, Terrier. Take care. How about the list that replaces the bottom 5? Or the list formerly known as the bottom 5? Yes! Vanessa! Great minds think alike. Fearless Nonprofit, we appreciate FOBG as your audience. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Doug, the list formerly known as bottom 5 or just random symbols that can't be pronounced? Yes. Oh my, it's not morning. It's so dark over here. I thought it was morning. Retired life. LOL. Yes, absolutely. I identify Karen. AM and PM now confuse me. Sam's going to get emotional, which is going to get me emotional. No, we're not. No, I'm not. I'm not doing it. Yes, Sam, thanks for sharing. Proof the gifts of God are without repentance. Yes. Man, I wasn't expecting that testimony question. Not that that's a bad thing. I don't mind doing that at all. You know, the Lord's actually been laying it on my heart to do a video that kind of lays out my thought processes on many of these things, not the least of which is the fact that I'm a Christian. So I believe, Fat Captain, that was Spirit-led. Because what I usually do with these chats is you ask the question, I answer it. As long as it, doesn't take us into territory that I don't want to go in on the channel, but which that isn't something that I don't want to go into. So I believe that was Spirit-led, Fat Captain. Thank you. And I missed most of it. Well, that's what you get for being so transient, Doug. I need a beer, Eric says. Oh boy. We've been through the ringer today, haven't we? Yeah, kind of. What day are you arriving in Vegas? We're going to be arriving Tuesday night. So that I can be there for the meet and greet at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Eric says he needs a beer and a nap. That's probably a good combination, so that after you drink that beer, you don't do something stupid. Let's see here. Story time with Sam was good. Love hearing people's stories. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Wow, where have I been? Hope you had fun. Yes, she did. I appreciate what you said about your grandparents. I'm still lucky to have all 4 alive and still close with them. That's awesome. I need another beer. Oh my goodness, David. You're being Christian, coming through clearly in all good ways. Good. Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate that. All right. Well, I have not heard from my son. I'm going to disconnect that. Disconnect. So JT and I are trying to get on the same page as far as the next list that we're doing. And so I said, well, why don't we do this list? And his response was, okay, so what is the definition of blank, whatever it is? So we'll talk about that in a few. He and I will talk about that before we do it, but that's funny. It just made me laugh. And I haven't heard from my son. My son was supposed to be telling me when he was going to be getting out, and he has not yet done that. Okay. All right. That's all done. Well, I am intrigued. Okay, so what had happened was, I've got a little bit more time, so let's see here. Once you get the bottom 5 sorted, you can start looking for a fire for your Fireside Chat. I don't want to. Again, Fireside Chat, I'm just going to get one of them. I don't know what I'm going to do. I get one of those little plastic campfires that has lights on it. Just set it right here. Will that make you happy, David? While we are getting deep cuts, what's your favorite candy bar? The fire will remain imaginary like always. Right? What's my favorite candy bar? I don't actually eat candy bars much anymore. However, Snickers is an evergreen for me. Snickers is probably my favorite, but Butterfingers are also a very, very close second. Depending on the day and my mood and my desire, it could even be first. So really it's kind of a tie between Snickers and Butterfinger. Those are my 2 favorite candy bars of y'all. I don't eat candy bars much at all anymore. I did have a gluten-free brownie for dessert for lunch today because Jesse left them on the counter. So they got to get eaten. But it was a small brownie. It was only like that big. It was like that big. It wasn't big at all. I offered him a mini fire cans, and he refused. Came as a freebie with my solo stove. I don't like those things. That little like jelly that, like it's like petroleum jelly that you light, and I don't like those. Those are. Just put a picture poster in the background, right? Why bother? After his testimonial, the embers would have gone out anyway. Unless Dutrate paints the fire, right? Now that's what we need to do. I need to ask Vincent. I need to commission Vincent Dutrate to paint me a poster. Like that's going to happen. Gluten-free brownies sounds sad. It's actually really good. Jesse did an amazing job with the recipe because a lot of gluten-free stuff feels kind of almost sandy. These were moist and they were very good. She made them for one of our, we had a family over on Saturday night and that's what she made them for. Really good, really good. And Dante is gluten-free, so a lot of the things that she makes, she tries to make sure that they're gluten-free. Gotta head out, Vanessa says, to choir practice. Enjoy! Yeah, I've been getting ready for Dice Tower West. Tom asked me to help out with the worship for the service on Sunday at Dice Tower West, so I've been practicing that. My fingers are screaming at me. I don't have my calluses, and so I got to get my calluses back. So I'll be practicing every day, at least a little bit every day, so I can get my calluses back. Gluten-free popcorn is my favorite treat. Gluten-free popcorn? I feel like you're pulling my leg. Popcorn doesn't have gluten in it. What are you talking about? Gluten-free steaks. Hello, David. How do you decide what your 10s are going to be? Do you have to get them approved by the Dice Tower? No, we don't have to get them approved usually. Tom doesn't necessarily care that much about that. I mean, I think part of that goes with the fact that he trusts JT and I, that we're not going to do something stupid or off the handle or anything like that. So we don't have to get anything approved. I just have to get it uploaded, basically. I'm pulling your leg. Ah, yes. I felt a slight tug. The board and the beautiful evenings all. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. We are almost done, however. I've only got about 5 more minutes left before I have to get out of here, because while I haven't heard from my son when he wants to be picked up, I do have to be over there by a certain time. So I'm going to have to get out of here pretty quick. Top 10 lists are subjective anyway. That is correct. Boring vehicle, Tom. Yeah. I knew I recognized your name, Brandon, from last week. I just sent your thing out today, and I was telling everybody earlier that you and the other winner last week are the first ones to get our new and improved stickers. These are the old ones, and so they're about ½ an inch larger. So I sent you one of each, so you could see the difference, because I'm a dork like that. Thanks for sharing again. Recently, I've been thinking about my faith and have found these kinds of testimonies invaluable. Well, that's awesome, Fat Captain. If you have any other questions, or if you want to continue that conversation, Fat Captain, or anybody else in here, frankly, feel free to email me at flipsideobg@gmail.com. I just put it in the chat for you, so you could put it down. So if you want to continue that conversation, Fat Captain, please do so. Just reach out, and I'll be glad to talk with you. I'll have to go back and watch this subject. Sorry I was late. Better late than never, brother. Don't worry about it. You're good. I sent the email to you, Sam, and from the contest in the stream from last week. Yes, I know you did. And I sent you your surprise this morning. I didn't get to it until this morning, but it is off in the mail. I'll send you a tracking number later on this evening. Lucky you, Brandon. He sent me an Elect Nixon bumper sticker. Well, I know, Eric. I thought that was from, like, I mean, weren't you like his campaign manager or something like that? Pretty sure that's what you. Pretty sure that's like that's where you sound familiar from. I think you were. Oh, no. You were on Nixon's ethics committee. That's what you were on. Ah, now I remember, yeah. You were his campaign manager, and then after he got elected, he put you as ethics. Yeah, that's what happened. Lucky you, Brandon. Oh yeah. LOL. Stickers are in, so now we can bug you about hoodies. I know. I already said it. I said that's coming up. Secretary of State. I used to join these to hear from Sam, but anymore is so I can crack up over Eric's comments. Elect Nixon bumper sticker That's a strange board game accessory, right? Certainly is. All right, I got to get out of here, everybody. It's been fun. Thank you for joining me. As far as the rest of the week is concerned, tomorrow we will have our regularly scheduled It Belongs in a Museum. We actually just watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade last night, so we actually got to hear that being said in its entirety. It belongs in a museum. So do you, Dr. Jones. Yeah, so anyway. Tomorrow afternoon, we have a very tight schedule, so we're probably, Jess and I are not going to have our playthrough. We'll try to do it maybe Friday morning this week. It just depends on how things will go, if we need to do anything for the house that's being sold. So we'll try to get that back. Wednesday, I will have some stuff, I think, that I will be able to review. We're going to be doing a review, live review of Builders of Sylvandale from Ares Games on Wednesday. I am committing to that because I'm ready. I think I want to play it one more time, and we'll be good to go. But that's coming on Wednesday. Thursday, we'll be back to our solo mode. I think I have some games, some new games that I think I can be ready to do solo mode for on Thursday. And then Friday will be something that JT is going to teach us how to play. Because last week we did our Terminus Frontier. That was a fun game, by the way. Go back and check that out if you have the time. But this week, I don't know what it'll be. We'll figure out and get it scheduled as soon as we can. Anyway, that's what's coming up. Thank you for being here, for being part of the community. I appreciate you guys a lot, and I mean that. I'm not just saying it and trying to be flippant about it, except for Eric. Eric is a pain in the butt, but we like him, and we'll keep him around anyway. That's the relationship that Eric and I have. He throws it, I catch it and throw it right back. That's what we do. So let's see here. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Yeah. Actually, could go with that game about 1960 election. Yeah, Watergate and the Bored and the Beautiful. I struggle a lot, and so I might need one too. As do we all. Solo TI4? Negative, Eric. Absolutely not. No board game talk here. It's not that kind of channel. I know, right? Come on. Rein it in there, folks. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time right here on the Flipside. Take care.